You are listening to the Wise Goat Patron. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
Are we still going on about that, Joseph? Are we allowed to?
Yeah, it was debatable today, but we are.
Did Lord Trump decree that we can go on about it?
Yeah.
When he held his Bible up today as the law enforcement through tear gas and rubber bullets, so clear path so he can awkwardly hold the Bible in front of a church that he never goes to.
Yeah. I was before we started tonight, I was watching the news and they had the Archbishop of that church. And the guy was just like,
"Who are you? I never met you before."
Yeah, he was like, "This is probably the most unchristian thing we've been associated with." It was just bizarre.
He said that?
Oh yeah. The Archbishop was like, I think it was the Archbishop. It was someone affiliated with that church, like a higher up affiliated with that church. And he said, "This is not what we're about. We're about the dignity of all people. And, if people are peacefully protesting, you shouldn't tear gas them or throw grenades at them just so you can waddle across Lafayette Park and hold a Bible up with your tiny hand." So I added that last part. He didn't say all.
Yeah, no, they said that. Your weird tiny hands and your gross orange skin.
Yeah. Well,
so like, I guess we could just do a quick recap of what happened in the world.
Yeah.
If you're a listener of YS Goat, we generally do an episode, our normal movie episode.
Yep.
Or TV show, whatever we're talking about, something in entertainment, and we always inject some politics into it, and then we do some updates. We did those episodes, and now we usually do on our Patron. But this week we're just gonna release we're gonna do 2 episodes this week, and we're gonna release them out for everybody. They'll still go on the Patreon. Join the Patreon.
Yep.
Support us if you can. I know times are weird and tough. We made a $1 intro. Just join the Patreon and become a member. We don't care what you throw at us, but it's $1 to get in. If you want to give $3, you want to give us $5, that's awesome. That makes you guys super cool. But we put out the episodes so you can listen for free too.
Yeah.
So if you like what you hear, the link's in our bio for our Patreon. Check it out. But this week we're gonna release 2 episodes, and they're basically mostly going to be going on what the hell is going on in the country. We're not political science experts. We just play them on TV.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, we started talking about politics real early, and it's something we both follow, and I'd say we probably are I think what do they call it? Reasonably informed laypersons,
I've always been pretty active. I haven't, I've been going to protests, not recently, but I've gone to protests for years. I went to a lot of them, the Iraq War, New York City, the GOP convention, getting George Bush reelected, when they decided to do their, the GOP, the Class C party that they are, decided to do their convention in New York City a month before 9/11 on the anniversary, just 3 years after 9/11, and turned New York City into a police state. I was working at NBC at the time while that was happening. It was one of the weirdest weeks of my life. I attended lots of protests. I did protests in DC. I can't say I've been to things, like I've been to meetups, I've gone to seen speakers. I've never been part of a group. I'm not I wasn't if anything, an active spectater,
Sure.
I'd go to protests. My goal was never get arrested. I had a friend who I remember I had a friend who, when we would go to the protests in New York City, especially during GOP, he was he wanted to get arrested. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I
Yeah.
don't want to get arrested, and because they did some fucked up shit to protesters back then.
Yeah.
Mike Bloomberg, like that's why I was very heavily. If you listen to the podcast this year, especially when Bloomberg was threatening to run for president. I mean, he did run for president. He
Yeah.
failed. He held all the protesters in bus stations in the heat of August summer in New York City, and people got very sick. They got chemical burns. It was like they were basically penned up in bus stations.
Yeah.
He held
Well,
them captive.
they wanted to make it a humiliating and miserable experience. They
And
went.
I that was not my intention to join those people.
Right. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I did like-minded people, but I didn't want to get arrested. So,
I always felt bad about this because, like, I never wanted to get arrested, and I would sometimes go to actions or protests or demonstrations, but never to the extent where I was really putting myself out there. And prior to the job I have currently, I'd always had jobs where getting arrested would mean you got terminated from your job. I worked in education for a long time, different schools, different hospitals, stuff like that.
like zero tolerance, even if it was like wrongfully arrested or like just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like,
Yeah, like in Florida especially, there is like a morals clause. Like even if you got arrested and were found like not guilty, you could still be terminated. Florida's a right to work state. I mean, a lot of those counties are real conservative. I mean, I never got caught up in any of that, but like they can still drug test you and fire you for usage, even if you were never arrested. They just randomly drug test you. So that's how I paid my bills. That's how I took care of my family. And I wasn't able to put myself at risk that way.
you didn't keep it real. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, and it's weird. Like, I feel kind of weird talking about that. We were talking to my daughter about the protests tonight, and she was like, well, why don't you guys go down to Dallas?
No.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. I was like, well, look, my number one job is.
That's what those cops are doing. Okay, so I've been to, just so if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? So basically, last time we talked, we talked about the lady in the park, Amy Cooper, and Chris Cooper. Amy Cooper being a white lady, Chris Cooper being a black man, and a birder also. He was looking for birds. And Amy was looking to call cops on a black guy.
Yes.
And it was like national news. It went everywhere. And there was big conversations about it and making jokes about Karen. And it was awful because it was just like, we knew what happens to black people in law enforcement in this country. We're not making this up. This happens all the time. It's been happening for years, and it's just getting worse and worse. And I would say, especially like a couple of years ago, I feel like there was like an incident every other day of like you would just see different stories, and it was like out of control. And then, so this lady calls, makes threats. She actually did call the cops. Nothing happened. I don't think the cops even showed up. I'm not sure, but we didn't think it was something to talk about, but it wasn't like what we're seeing now. The next day, literally the next day it happened.
Yeah.
George Floyd in Minnesota.
It was, Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, and that's Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like, he, a black man was, what was he accused of, first of all? Like writing.
I think he was accused of passing a bad check.
It's insane. And so the cops like beat the shit out of him. They threw him in a car. They claimed that he was resisting arrest. You could see it all on video. The whole thing is on video. The arrest is on video.
Well,
and then they had him in a cop car, and then they pulled him out of the cop car after beating the shit out of him, and they put him on the ground. And there were 4 cops. 3 of them were on him.
Yep.
The main cop, Chauvin, is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
Had his knees on his neck while the other guys had him pinned down, and the other guy watched. And he had him down for 9 minutes, and they fucking killed him.
Yeah.
and it just blew up and turned into basically the end of this country. Like it's a nightmare. And like these cops should have been arrested immediately. They've only arrested one fucking cop, the main guy. They didn't arrest the other. They all of them should be arrested. All of them should be the main guy should be arrested for murder. They got him for what, 3rd degree?
Yeah, I can kind of see. I mean, like, I don't want to quibble. Like, if someone says, well, he got arrested for 3rd degree murder, not 1st degree murder, that pisses me off, but I can see it. The way the law was written, I mean, I don't think the cop intentionally was like, I'm going to murder this guy. I think he murdered him, but it seemed to me that it was a function of like committing, the guy that got murdered while the cop was committing other crimes, you know?
Well,
and so,
I'm sorry, what?
no, well, like if someone gets murdered while you're committing other crimes, you're still guilty of murder. You know, like if I rob a bank and someone flees the bank because I'm robbing it, and they run out into the middle of the street and get hit by a truck, I murdered that guy legally. You know, even though I didn't murder him, I like set into my first illegal act of robbing the bank, set into action this chain of events that led to a guy getting killed. Therefore, I murdered him. And with this, I think like I don't think that the cop like thought I'm going to murder this guy. I think he committed a bunch of illegal actions that led to this guy's death. Therefore, it's murder.
Well, he had his knee on his neck for 9 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, I'm not gonna quibble.
Did you see the full autopsy?
Mm-hmm.
The first autopsy was hysterical because it was
I was gonna say which one.
Well, the first one was like this bullshit one where they like found things wrong with him. Like he was overweight or something. His cholesterol was high. It was like the most insane. Like guy was hit by a car, but you know he had a cold that day. So
I think all of this.
Who knows what happened?
All of this is like super emblematic of how fucked up the system is because everyone saw this happen on video. Everyone knows the
whole thing.
And you still have a fucking here's what you have after we all saw it on video. You have a coroner who turns in some bullshit autopsy report that's completely nonsense. You have 3 of the 4 not even arrested yet.
Not even arrested. Still, even to now, with all the riots and protests and the people getting shot.
Arrested for like you could arrest him for something silly at first and then work your way up to charges later. Just arrest him for like unlawful detention. Whatever you're going to arrest him for. And then you have the police union head sitting there writing letters to all the cops talking about how Trump's going to take care of this and don't worry about it. And
is that real?
Oh yeah, it was trending this morning on Twitter. It's the Police Benevolence Association head, the police chiefs, the police union guy was talking about how, you know, that our leadership has failed us, meaning the local leadership, because they arrested the one cop, and we're going to get our 4 brothers off, and they've been illegally terminated, and like, what the fuck is going on here? Like this guy didn't learn anything. So.
And this is always on video. All this stuff is now always on video. It doesn't matter. I mean, this goes back to fucking Rodney King, where it was on video for everyone to see.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are they gonna fucking release those scumbags that weren't even cops that killed Aubrey in Georgia?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I mean, what is it gonna take? So when back in the day we used to say like, well, we got you on video. You're good. There's gonna be justice. Everyone's gonna see. We're gonna see. And then you find out, no, it doesn't matter because people are racist or they want to protect their power or their system or they're scared of the police. Look at de Blasio. What happened to de Blasio in New York?
Yeah.
I think the police union told him this fucking mayor hostage. They arrested his fucking daughter last night.
Well, I'll tell you, it's weird because it shows how deep the problem is, because I think that some of the people in Minnesota really want to do the right thing. I think some of the local leaders are looking at this and they're like, this is bullshit. And so then they start to try to fix it and they realize, oh, wait a minute, the laws are written so that you can't arrest cops. oh, wait a minute, the laws are written so that you can kill a suspect and you can't be held liable. Oh, the laws are written so that you can't really fire some cops and you can't, I mean, it's just like bizarre. Like structurally, the system is stacked against reform.
Because we talked about these cops, not in the podcast, but we talked about this, and you know how the one thing that I was blown away by, actually, I couldn't believe it, because you know people are gonna be like, the fact that the cops were fired immediately, even though they weren't arrested, they were all fired like pretty much that day.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I thought that would lead to like, okay, well now you're fired. Well, guess what? You lost all your protections as a cop. Now you're gonna face trials and all that stuff. But no, they still have police union protection. Supposedly, all those cops could end up getting hired and working in some other city, join Trump's fucking brown shirt army now. And it's totally insane. Like, so what happened was, so George Floyd dies, and then there's protests. And the protests get turned into riots and looting. There's video evidence. It first started, I guess, in Minnesota, right, or Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minneapolis is where it really took root first.
One of the first things to really leak and come out was this, you know, and like I said, I have attended protests before. We were talking about in the beginning, but I wanted to get into the George Floyd thing, about my experiences with protests. But I've never seen anything like this in my life before. You know, what I'm seeing, you know, I follow a lot of people on Twitter. They're posting live feeds. They're posting like, there's no point in even watching it on mainstream news because, you know, everyone's got a fucking camera and I could see what, you know, what's happening, and they posted immediately on Twitter. But a guy was caught. All these people saw him. This guy in black, wearing a gas mask with a hammer, smashing windows.
Yep.
At an AutoZone.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? And the guy got caught, and people were like, hey, are you a cop? And the guy doesn't respond. He just like walks away. And the guy's like, no, hey, motherfucker, are you a cop? Like, I know, like, admit it. And supposedly the guy, I don't know if it's 100% true, the guy's a cop. And because his ex-girlfriend was like, yeah, that's him.
Yeah. I've heard conflicting stories on that. I don't doubt that it's true, but I don't know that it's true. I do know that there seems to be, and it's weird, like there seems to be a very clear, angry yet peaceful movement that sprung up in many, many cities. And then peripheral to that, there are smaller groups of people that are just causing chaos, you know? And some of those I think are just local folk that are causing chaos because of whatever. And others are like provocateurs, you know, that just are probably working against the movement. It's a mess.
There's you know, obviously Trump declared Antifa a terrorist organization, which is the most right-wingers. Okay, if you listen, the Antifa is not an organization.
Yeah.
The Klan is. The Klan's an organization.
They have a post office box or whatever.
The alt-right is an organization.
Proud Boys.
Yeah, that's an organization.
Yep. Yeah.
There is no
Daughters of the Confederacy.
Yep, those are all real things. I don't know if the Boogaloo has a P.O. box. I'm not sure.
I'll give them a pass on being a real organization, you know, like an organization as you would be able to define.
Well, aren't they like Civil War wannabes or something? Like they want to like start a race war or some shit?
You know, like I said, before we started recording, we were talking about them a little bit. I don't know too much about them. I mean, I became more familiar with them today.
So they're infiltrating into these groups. They're walking around with machine guns. These guys, they're causing chaos. It's like hard to gauge. You know, the media says like the dumbest things. Like Antifa is working with extreme right-wing groups. Like, no, they're not.
Yeah.
That, like, either you're purposefully lying or you're an idiot and have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, and from what I understand, legally, you can't label Antifa a terrorist group the way Trump was saying he would. That's reserved for like foreign entities. Like you here in America,
He can say whatever he wants. He doesn't give a shit. There's
right?
no grounds for anything he says.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But go ahead. Yeah, here in America, what?
No, here in America, that's why you can have like a Ku Klux Klan. I mean, they can say whatever random shit they want to say. That's their rights as Americans. You know, you treat them as criminals when they start committing crimes. You know, like it's one thing to say racist things, and then it's another thing to like engage in behavior based on those racist things. So
the right wing Fox News too, endlessly Fox News,
yep.
And like Matt Gaetz, Tom Cotton, these right wing shit politicians that should both be defeated in their next election so they don't have any political power because
nobody's even running against Tom Cotton. Democrats didn't even put up someone to run against him.
Are you serious?
He's running unopposed.
When?
Like now, I think.
He's up for election and no one's
let me see now.
He's not up for, no, they would go after that seat. It's Pennsylvania. They would want to get that back.
No, Tom Cotton's Arkansas.
No, are you serious?
Yeah.
Then which one's fucking Pennsylvania?
Jeez, I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up because I think we're talking about two different guys, or maybe I'm getting the name wrong.
Could be. Tom Cotton, I know for a fact, is from Arkansas. The guy, he's like a Harvard-trained lawyer.
He has white hair, right?
No. You're thinking of someone else. Who are you thinking of?
Oh, I was thinking of Pat Toomey. Never mind.
Oh, okay, yeah. This guy, Tom
Cotton is the one that basically said, like, wanted people shot by the Air Force today.
Yes, yeah. Tom Cotton is a complete piece of garbage.
Okay, for some reason I thought he was in Pennsylvania. Thank God he's not, because I can imagine he's in Arkansas.
Yep.
I would imagine. Why would they not even run someone against him?
Yeah, right after I said that, like that seems silly.
Well, they're up every 6 years, so it can be kind of confusing. Yeah, why are there no Democrats running? Cotton's up for re-election in 2020, and the Democratic Party of Arkansas isn't running anymore. I guess they're probably like, fuck it, we're not gonna get somebody. Why even waste a dime? Like, let's put it all towards other seats and we can win.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, if you're talking about picking your bets, like, yeah, you put your money in Arkansas or Texas or Georgia,
or Arizona, beat the ones that you can beat.
But you absolutely want to run someone in every single race ever, because
you want to have it make
tomorrow morning they start digging up bodies in Tom Cotton's backyard, and
but they're not going to. That's the problem. Is Democrats, what they do is, and I've been learning about this, is they, especially in these red states, they always end up running a very conservative Democrat who has military experience. That's always a classic go-to, thinking that will get the right-wingers to vote for them. Like, ooh, the military, when in reality, right-wingers don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They only care about Starbucks cups, and that's true. That's what they get mad about. Like, can they have their BB, can they have their gun, and their a Christian cup. Cup thing that says a Starbucks cup covered in Jesus' blood. And like Amy McGrath, who's running in Kentucky, like all these people are freaking out because she said this shit, like, she's like very conservative, but she's Democrat. She's running against. I guess there was a primary debate, and she said something like, "I could work with Trump" or something, and it's just like, like, we don't want to hear that. Like, but I guess maybe in Kentucky they think they have to say that. I don't know.
Yeah,
in a Democratic governor, like, I don't know. Get the energy flowing,
I think that's what a primary's for. I mean, why don't you let Amy McGrath in the Democratic primary run against a pretty liberal Democrat, and if they pick the more conservative one, then so be it. You know what I mean? But
it's lame that she said that.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, again, she's not running for Senate in like New Jersey. She's running in Kentucky. Yeah. And she's trying to beat Mitch McConnell. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get the whole like, can't be AOC, but at the same time, you also have to look strong. And I don't know how, especially with Trump being as polarizing as he is, which is like a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to say that.
Yeah.
Like I remember Beto in Texas would say things like, when he was running, I don't remember, I think it was when he was running in Senate. He said he'll work with Trump when he agrees with Trump.
Yeah, I do believe he said something like that. And
I knew what he was saying, but I kind of got the impression it was kind of like a joke because he'll never agree with him. Right. Like that's how it came off. It was like nothing good will ever come out of him. So
yeah, so don't worry.
But let's get back to the protest because who gives a shit about this? So yeah, the Senate is trying to get their right-wing judges in while the country burns.
Yep.
So there's been agitation. The police I've never seen this in my life. Like I said, I have attended protests before. I have seen people get arrested in mass. I one time went to, so the day before the massive protests before the GOP convention started, I went to Union Square Park and there was like a small protest that was building.
Yeah.
And there were some people there. Thankfully, I was watching and then I stood to the side. I saw all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 100 fucking cops show up, standing at attention, lined up, and they arrested everybody in the park. And I was like, gonna cry. I could not believe this. I was like, what the fuck? Over what? And that's why, like I said, I fucking hate Bloomberg because that was under him. And I knew what a piece of shit he was. And that's why the idea of running for president to me was a complete fucking farce and a joke. And any Democrat I had no respect for any Democrat that would open him, like open armed. Like I just was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah. Well, it's real scary. I mean, I'm sure you're similar to me in that you're kind of watching the news and you're seeing this unfold, and there's just this real ominous feeling of what's next. I mean,
well, you got Trump tweeting. So like, I hate calling it a riot. I mean, they're protesting and then cops come in, they agitate, they're arresting and shooting at reporters. The first one, I think it was like Friday morning, I woke up and I was looking at my phone and I'm watching the reporter from CNN get arrested.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And like everything was lit on fire, this town in Minnesota. I think it was in Minneapolis still. And everything, it just looked like, I'm like, is this the United States? I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? And the cops are just arresting people. And they're just coming at people. They're shooting at them. They're beating the shit. I saw, you see the one from Salt Lake where the cops come out and they knock over two old men, one of them on a cane?
I have not seen that.
That is these guys are losing their fucking mind. It's like we are watching a cop riot right now. This is a riot being put on by like the cops. Like this is like a revolt, and Trump is loving it because, what did he came to Nassau County in like 17 or 18, gave a speech where he basically told the cops, rough them up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you got to, rough them up. Like, be strong.
That's what that police union leader from Minneapolis said. He said basically, like, it used to be that we were handcuffed and then Trump got elected and now the handcuffs are on the suspects, not us. And it was like clear as day what he was saying is that like we're not being held accountable anymore because Trump is in power, we got to work to keep this going. You know,
Yeah, Trump's a jackboot thug who will do anything to stay in power. He's got fascistic tendencies. I wouldn't say he's a dictator because he's incredibly lazy, and dictators would.
It's so ironic, though. I mean, we talked about this the last week or two about how Trump is probably the least masculine.
Right.
Stereotypically
right-wing. Yeah. All these right-wing cartoonists always draw Trump as this, like Ben Garrison. There's this guys who do. There's one guy who does all these right-wing paintings. It's a different person. I forget his name. He does these ridiculous paintings, like Trump giving a man a fish, teaching him to fish. And it's like the funniest thing you ever seen. You're almost like, is this a joke? Like, is this a parody?
Yeah,
it's not. The guy really thinks that Trump will teach a man, like it's the Republican, teach a man to fish and I'll learn for a lifetime. This guy ran an illegal school.
Yeah. Well, he's like, anything a conservative would normally make fun of in a man, Trump embodies. Trump watches TV all day. Trump tweets all day. Trump is always on his phone. Trump wears makeup. Trump, I mean, like.
I can say that. I'm fat. He's fat.
Well, he's
239 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, no fucking way he is. I'm 239 pounds. I'm only 5'8".
Yeah.
And I don't even look anywhere near as fat as him.
Oh,
no fucking way. He is bordering on 300 at least.
Yeah. He's morbidly obese. He
as our House Speaker said.
Yeah.
I don't know where she is. She's been incognito. She's like,
dodged the draft, all that. And here's the other funny thing.
He's got hands that probably feel like a baby's bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like, not that
and now we have a situation like with the stuff that's going on tonight.
Well, hold on. They always draw Trump as a jacked macho man.
Right.
All the Republican cartoonists, like I said, look up Ben Garrison. It's the funniest. Oh. The guy is such a talented artist. Like he could have worked for Mad Magazine, but he's a hateful right-wing prick. And it's nothing's funny. You ever see The Onion when they do their comics?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like a joke. It's like a parody on a right-wing artist. Like the Statue of Liberty is always crying. The prototypical white family with the kids are always crying whenever, and it's always something stupid like, they're not allowed to smoke anymore. It's like a joke. It's like a parody. But Ben Garrison is not a parody. It's exactly what it is. And he always draws Trump super jacked, but he also sexualizes the women. Like he'll put an AOC and like she's always wearing a bikini. And it's really fun. Well, it's like, well, listen, AOC's pretty. It's funny, but it's funny to see him really thirsty for her. But then he draws Nancy Pelosi, and he'll show her, and she's all like enraged, but she's got like deep sea cleavage, and it's just like, why is that necessary? Like this 80-year-old lady. Like, listen, is Nancy Pelosi she's an attractive 80-year-old lady. But like, why are you drawing her with cleavage? It's the most bizarre.
That's a puzzler.
It's like the man is either insane or he is a genius, and this is all a joke. Like
like an Andy Kaufman-esque type of.
Like the idea is like, yes, I'm gonna draw Trump as this He-Man character when you all know he stammers, he can't barely walk, he stands like a centaur who got his ass cut. Like you ever see those pictures of Trump?
It's because he wears lifts.
His posture is so bizarre. Like, I don't mean to insult anyone with bad posture. I can't say I have the greatest posture, but the Disney animatronic looks more lifelike than him. And that thing is, if you've ever seen the Disney animatronic,
Hall of Presidents.
It is the most disturbing looking thing. It's like the person who made that did not want to make it. They were like, fuck it, here's a pile of mush.
Yep. It's like if the Asylum made Westworld.
Asylum, the movie? The shit, like they tried to make Westworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the people who made Birdemic. Like, so I mean, yeah, they always make him out to be this macho man, but in reality, he's incredibly effeminate.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of girly, you know?
He's a fop. He won't wear a mask, not because he's manly, because his orange makeup will come off.
Yeah. Well,
He,
the other funny or the other irony is that all my life I've been hearing from the NRA and right-wing nuts and all this that we need to stock up on firearms because one day the government might declare martial law. Well, here we are, you know.
Yep. But the reality was, those guys work in tandem with the people. They only care about things like martial law or tyranny or any of that stuff when Democrats or someone's in charge that's giving people rights. I had a conversation with, I'm not going to name this person,
Yeah,
but I had this conversation with this woman years ago, and this was like, I don't even know if Trump was president yet. It might have been in 16. And we were talking about Obama and her parent, and she was saying about her parents how who were super right wing conservatives. I think they were friends with George W. Bush, supposedly, which I was just like, ugh, you
yeah.
know. And she told me that the idea that Obama, even though it was the Supreme Court that ended up deciding, wasn't it the Supreme Court that ended up deciding legal gay marriage?
I believe so. Yeah.
The lawsuit that basically said,
It was weird. It was like, I think it was the Interstate Commerce Act. It basically said, like, if they're legalizing it in one state, that's it. All it takes is one state to legalize it, and then
and it was becoming legal in multiple states.
yeah.
So she said something, the most bizarre thing, that it was tyranny that Obama was doing. And I was like, I don't think you know what that,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I know I think she was talking about as her parents, because she wasn't herself hateful or anything like that. But, you know,
Well,
her parents
think
were
back to how you felt when soldiers showed up at your house and made you get gay married. It probably felt pretty tyrannical, you know?
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like ridiculous. It's like the idea that people getting rights, basic human rights in the country, being recognized as humans,
Yeah.
as people,
It is.
that's a form of tyranny, and that's how they think. And it's the most insane. I was like blown away by that. I was like, the idea that, so the way you view your world and your country is that everyone else is really an outsider. They're just
Yeah.
guests that should be happy to be here, and that right-wing Christian law is the only real law, and everyone else is here to like kind of serve your world. Like,
Yeah. It is crazy. I mean, like, even little kids kind of understand that, like, if two people want to get married, it doesn't affect you at all. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't affect you. It's not
they
like,
would make arguments about it being like, I remember one of the senators said, like, I think it was the guy from Pennsylvania who's not senator anymore.
okay.
The guy Santorum.
Santorum.
Yeah, the guy, when you Google search his name and
Yeah.
Santorum, it's like a,
A
was it
frothy mix of,
ever anal sex or something?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
that's so funny.
fecal matter and lube.
Yeah. Disgusting. And Santorum sounds about right. That's a
Yeah, it
perfect.
does.
But he said, I think it was him who said something about a box turtle. There might have been some other Republican asshole who said that.
Yeah.
Like I could marry a box turtle. And it's such a distortion of an argument.
Well, and it's just wrong. Like, the whole premise is that, like, two adults able to give consent can do this. Period.
It's just they do this all the time. I remember talking to a guy about abortion, and he said something like, like the conversation of turning into like having sex with a cadaver or something. And I was just like, maybe that's something you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's not, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't debate. Sometimes you just can't debate people. Like, they have these positions that are just insane, and they come up, and the ones that have power come up with any insane excuse they could come up with to basically distort your reality. And that's what we're seeing right now too. I see people, you know, they say Antifa is an organization that believes in fascism, which makes no sense, and is run by George Soros, who that man is so busy.
He,
so
yeah.
evil.
His work ethic is unparalleled.
And he has unlimited money. He is the richest man in the world, like richer than. Obviously, we're kidding. I love how these like right wingers like they pick like 1 or 2 billionaires. So COVID-19, so it became Bill Gates and George Soros, and they forget about all the other billionaires.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing how that works. It's like super bizarre. But again, these are the same people who pushed, Joe Biden's kid, and like while you see the Trump kids in front of your eyes, like basically bilking the government at every chance they can.
Yeah, it is something. I mean, the one thing I've seen that really kind of struck a chord with me is that people talked about looting and said like, yeah, we should stop looting. And then they would show a picture of like Mitch McConnell and Trump and Ivanka and Jared and say like, we got to stop looting because they're looting the economy.
You show Jeff Bezos, and
yeah.
you show that like after COVID-19, we haven't even like. It's funny how COVID-19 became like a backstory. Like all these people, the unfortunate reality is the rates of COVID-19 are probably going to balloon.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
The one thing Trump and the Republicans were really hoping to do, which I don't like conspiracy theories, but I think there's just going to be a sad reality that they really wanted us to all just do herd immunity and basically so a bunch of poors can die.
Yeah, well.
But what like the theory, like what's the theory of herd immunity? Like if 70% get it or something, and
something like that, yeah.
It goes away? Or like
it's basically that that you will not be able to spread it effectively. Like it won't be able to spread effectively throughout the population. Its spread will be limited. You'll still have people get COVID, but the herd immunity will make it very unlikely that people will get it.
But that's obviously a risky gamble.
Oh yeah.
And it's being a gamble that done by people who really don't give a fuck what happens to you.
Yeah.
They don't care.
No, it's a real nihilistic way of looking at things. I mean,
there's some eugenics involved, I'm sure. There's a lot of classism involved, a lot of racism, because they know that it will affect poor communities. It will affect communities that are heavily populated. It will affect. They don't give a fuck.
Well, where do you see this going? Like when I saw, like we've seen the protests come and get stronger each night for the last 5 or 6 nights. And then Trump waddled out of the White House today.
Well, he went in his bunker last night and turned the White House off.
Yeah.
He turned the White House off. It was the most insane thing. They said has that ever happened?
No. I heard on Halloween he did that to prevent trick-or-treaters, but
that's a joke, guys. Joseph's making jokes. Trump's so cheap.
Yeah, he hid like a cockroach down in this bunker, like a coward, and that kind of is what prompted his big show of strength today to have other guys tear gas children and stuff. I don't know where it goes. Like theoretically, this is where people should go back to the White House and double the numbers,
I mean, he will kill people.
But that's the thing, is that he might kill people, and like, I don't know, I don't want to.
I don't think the media will. It's like the same thing with COVID-19. Over 100,000 died in the United States from it, and millions of people have lost their jobs. But we live in a country where it doesn't matter because half the population lives in I don't know if it's half the population, but a large percentage live in an alternate reality where they have their own news, their own needs, their own wants, their own whining and complaining. They're the victim in their world. It's like the thing with that woman told me about her parents' belief on gay marriage. That's how they are. They live in another fucking reality. And that's not, I would gladly welcome into my reality, but I don't think they no want. There was a woman that was on video destroying this. One woman had like Black Lives Matter with all the names. She was like art and shit. And this insane woman came out of nowhere. You would think she was a meth head, but I think she's just high on InfoWars. And that's not even a dumb joke. I mean, that's serious. And just started talking about like, this is a lie. George Soros funded this. The no one was executed. It was the whole thing. You're a fool. And she starts breaking everything. And the woman's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And it's insane because I'm just like, this woman's so sure of herself. She really believes that this black man did not get killed by the cops, and that the whole thing is staged and funded by George Soros. And I'm just like, God, what the fuck is? That's back in the day. We would just call that a nut.
Right.
But there's millions of people like her who really believe that.
Well, really you wonder how
Soros funds every evil thing that happens in this country.
Yeah. For so many years, it was socially unacceptable to think that way. You know what I mean? Like, even like, and again, we've said this before, I'm not going to rehabilitate George W. Bush's persona, but at least he knew enough to pretend to be compassionate, you know?
I mean, again, I just got to stress to you that he was absolutely the worst president. If you remember Katrina.
But
he was performing on a level almost as bad as Trump. He did try to be somewhat human. He didn't go on TV and tell, or tweet, even though it didn't exist yet. He didn't try to, send a message to the national, the Coast Guard to shoot people in New Orleans.
Well, his followers would look to him and be easily fooled, or could easily kind of say, well, George Bush is a kind man or whatever. It was a dynamic so that like cruelty and ignorance and stupidity wasn't actively encouraged. Like you should be proud of this. You should be out in the open celebrating your ignorance. Trump celebrates ignorance. I mean, he celebrates cruelty. He celebrates all these things. These other presidents, some good, some terrible, they would at least kind of like dress it up in language where like, well, we're not like that.
Bush was a compassionate conservative. It made no sense.
Yeah.
But it was just, I'm a compassionate conservative. He would say stuff like that. And everyone knew it was bullshit, and he was absolutely horrible. But I just don't, I really do believe. I had this conversation with my wife about it. Let's say Jeb Bush became president.
Sure.
And I said, during the primary, I was like, I loved watching, as much as I thought Trump was absolutely the worst thing. I really loved watching him destroy Jeb Bush.
Yeah, that was fun.
And she's like, well, she said it to me. She's like, you thought it was funny. I'm like, well, yeah, I also said that Trump was a massive piece of shit. I drew him with the ass face back in 2015 when he announced his presidency. I thought he was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
He was the fucking worst. But I really, we all laughed it off, and, the joke's on us. But, she's like, if Jeb Bush, let's say he got the nomination and he somehow beat Hillary or whatever, and he's president. I said, I still think almost everything that Trump did, Jeb Bush would have done. I still think that Jeb Bush would have put through the same tax cut.
Yeah. And the same judges.
I think the same judges would have been put through.
Yep.
I think if not Brett Kavanaugh, some other horrible right-wing judge.
Yeah, but it probably would have been Kavanaugh. I mean, all Trump did was take the Federalist Society list.
Yeah, he took people that are on a list. It's not like I'm going to pick the best. Like, he knows anyone.
Yeah. So he just...
You probably like, can I have Gary Busey? Like... Yeah.
I mean, he would have picked like Paula Abdul, Simon Cowell.
Joan Rivers. Is Joan Rivers still alive?
Yeah.
No, sorry, she's dead. That's fine. Get her anyway.
Right. Dig her up.
Dig her up. grab her by the bones.
But you wonder,
Apologies to Joan Rivers.
you wonder where it's going to go. Like, from what I right before we started recording tonight, I was looking on Twitter. I saw things like military helicopters hovering over Washington, D.C. I saw a huge protest in like fucking Bentonville, Arkansas. I mean, I don't think this is just
Bentonville's a major city, and I used to go down there for work, and at Walmart and stuff, and I've been down there for conventions and stuff, and I'm kind of shocked that there's a in Arkansas, but yeah, they're all over the place in the country. I mean, people are fed up.
Yeah.
Well, and, there's all these weird things too. But I still believe that yes, would Jeb Bush been better as a president? He would have done things to say things, but I still think yes, all the policies would have been the same. Now, let's say there was the march, the Nazi march in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Would Jeb Bush go on TV the next day and go, well, I saw good people on both sides? I don't know how he would have phrased it. I'm sure he would have came up with a better way to phrase it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he probably would have even said they were horrible, but I'm sure he would call out the Nazis. This is what Jeb Bush would do, and a lot of Republicans that are not Trump would do. They would call out the Nazis.
Yep.
They would say they were horrible. They would say that first. But they would end on attacking Antifa. So when you left, that's a popular thing that like centrist Democrats do, more centrist Republicans do when they still want to push a right-wing agenda. They start with the thing and they end with what they really mean. So Jeb Bush would have said, I don't condone what these people did. They're Nazis. They're repulsive, blah, blah, blah. But then he would put Antifa in the same. He would still say, so unlike Trump, who says something stupid like, I saw good people on both sides, Jeb Bush would still equate Antifa with right-wing groups so that when average or everyday Americans would go about their day and say, well, I'm not a right-wing nut. I'm also not Antifa. Yeah. But it's a way to push society more towards the right. Because
the danger with that is after a Jeb Bush, who's probably a pretty skilled orator, after Jeb Bush says something like that, you got a lot of the people in the media saying, well, he's trying to bring people together and he's, but with Trump, you get like reporters or newscasters just saying like, oh my God, what is, like Trump's a little better actually in that respect because the lines are clearly drawn.
And he gets people to hate the media. People are probably cheering the media getting arrested.
Yeah.
The cops shooting rubber bullets at the media. Reporters. One reporter posted that she lost an eye, that her eye will never come back, and it was because of a cop.
Yeah.
Like, I have never seen anything like this before. This is complete madness. Now, I will say, though, and I said this to my wife, the difference between a Jeb Bush and Trump presidency is I think we would have been in a war with Jeb Bush.
Oh yeah, like a foreign war. Yeah.
That's
their
bread and butter. That's what they do. Trump, he's got the Republicans in there, but he's still the president, and I think he.
No,
I don't think he could do a war. I don't think he's too lazy.
He has no idea what to do. Plus, most of the people that we reasonably go to war with, he loves all our enemies.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like,
the people we usually have problems with.
What are we going to go to?
The only one that he was started a war with was Iran. That was in January.
And Iran's like, Iran's like a big, legit nation. It's very modern. It's industrialized.
They have a huge army.
Big military, yeah. You're not going to go into Iran and win easily.
You start World War III with Iran.
Yeah.
They have allies. They would create axis with other countries. We would, that would create World War III.
Yeah.
And I just remember this year. This year has been like hell.
Yeah.
It has been like last year. We went to see Endgame, and it was like the best movie. You know, who knew last year was the last year of movies? You know, like, I mean, as much as I love Sonic the Hedgehog, that was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just making a joke, obviously.
Right.
You know, oh no, my escapist entertainment. Oh no, but
Well,
like the start of the year, this asshole tried to start a war with Iran. Thankfully,
yeah.
that kind of
That
fell
seems
apart after a couple of days. What?
it seems so long ago.
It was only January, and
Yeah.
then the whole time after that, he downplayed a virus that was spreading around the world very fast and did nothing about it. And that's the other thing people are pointing out about this nightmare is that, you know, hospitals couldn't get masks. They couldn't get anything. Ventilators. It was impossible. The supply chain was cut off for everything. But all these fucking cops have militarized full body gear.
Oh yeah.
You saw nurses in trash bags.
Yeah.
All those people got sick because of that,
Yeah.
which spread the virus even more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you wonder why the police didn't work with the hospitals and give like some riot masks or something. You know,
yeah, here's a riot shield. Like, no, seriously, like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
like the face mask things, not like a shield, but like
Right.
yeah,
Fucking TV shows like The Good Doctor and whatever other hospital shows, those gave
right, yeah,
they gave fake hospital shows that use real hospital garbs and stuff
sure, yeah,
donated to the hospitals because they had them all.
no,
And they were like, here. But like, we didn't have fucking toilet paper for weeks. We still don't have things like Lysol in the store. We
yeah,
don't have all that. But Trump wanted meat. And then all of a sudden meat was like, okay, I guess, you know, someplace still, but you could pretty much get meat anywhere. It's not an issue.
right,
But that was like instant meat. No, oh no. Like, we need face masks. Well, you know,
yeah,
trying to find a way to get my guy to make a lot of money out of this. We know how to make money off of meat. We haven't really figured out how to rip people off with hospital, you know, like, and then this happens with the protests and turn riots and like fucking, I'm talking police riot because
yeah,
that's what it is, the fucking police riot. They're armed to the fucking teeth. But I tell people this is post 9/11. They've been militarizing the police since 9/11.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, they've been.
Like,
In a lot of ways, this seems kind of like it's it's tough. It seems like we're on the cusp of something pretty big happening. You know.
it ain't good.
No, it's not good at all. But
I don't think there's going to be, at this point, the way things are going, I don't think there'll be justice for George Floyd.
well, yeah, I think that ship has sailed, to be honest. I mean, like,
I don't think those cops are going to, I mean, these cops are going through the street. They are fucking, okay, there's a video I watched today, which was the most insane video I saw. I posted my Twitter. I said, cops have lost their fucking mind.
oh, I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
The store that was getting the looters, and the store was trying to get, the store, I think it was like a liquor store or something. It was owned by older black people.
Yeah.
And they were like looters, but they were dealing with it, and they were waving the cops. And the cops came. The looters got away. That was the joke. And they started arresting the owners of the store. And the reporter that's watching is like, they're not the freaking loot. They own the store. And the cops are like, I don't know what's going on. Were they white? Were they black? Were they Chinese? It's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They
Well,
lost their. They must. Okay, so soldiers get PTSD, right?
sure.
And they'll do like a tour of duty for like a year,
Yeah.
6 months, and they could get permanent PTSD from that.
Yeah.
Are you telling me a cop who, you know, there's jokes of the lazy cop sits in a car and just pulls people over. Yeah, there's those, but then there are cops that are in danger and do,
Oh, yeah.
like, not when they're, you know, instigating riots. I'm talking about, you know, when society is society and there is actual criminals. Like, there are cops that see shit. They are forced to deal with horrible shit. They've seen child abuse, probably. They've seen
Yeah.
beaten women. All these cops should be receiving therapy,
Yeah.
taking long sabbaticals.
That's the thing. When there's plenty of decent cops, but even like the best cop with a good heart and true intentions and all that, if all they see is the worst of humanity, like the only time they ever interact with, a lot of times they interact with people when people are breaking the law, whether it's something simple like I was speeding, or whether it's something complicated like I was abusing a child, that's all they see, and so eventually that's all they see. I mean, when
And then you
you,
have a president who feeds into their worst impulses too,
yeah,
who says, hey, you know what? You got my back, I got your back.
yeah,
When he gives a speech and says, I got the cops on my side, I got the bikers on my side.
right,
He's got all the guys that are going to beat the shit out of you, basically. That's what he's saying.
yeah,
He's a fucking jackboot thug. There's really no other word to describe it.
nah.
He
I would
is,
say, my only quibble with that is that he's such a coward. He's not.
but most of the time they are. I mean, look at
Yeah,
fucking, a good example again. Look at Hitler.
yeah, yeah,
Look, it was a dainty fop.
yeah.
He was an art school dropout. Like, I'm sorry. Like, listen, you know what? I can't. I'm not even gonna say the word, so it doesn't even matter. But he was a flop. Is the
Yeah,
best way I could say it. Like, I was in art. Listen, I did art. I did art school and everything like that. And I would be called stuff back in the
sure,
'80s and '90s. I'm not gonna say it.
sure.
Hitler would be called that too. And so, it's just hysterical how these like guys who get idolized as these macho figures
Yeah,
are just the most weakest people.
it is. It's strange, but
It's amazing how like I really want to understand the brain of the people that look up to them. Like,
they feel. I mean, they're weak people too. They feel like, I don't know. They feel like they're either weak and feel like victims, or they feel like the world owes them something. A lot of these people have had their privilege kind of yanked out from under them to some extent.
how? What privilege did they lose? Again, that's the same thing. It's the woman telling me the tyranny of
Yeah.
Obama letting people that gay marriage is tyranny. That's not
Well,
taking your rights away. That's
in
giving other
place
people.
in places like Michigan, they had like their great grandfather worked in the auto plant, and their grandfather worked in the auto plant, and their father worked in the auto plant, and then they go down to work in the auto plant. There's no jobs because the freaking robots doing it all, and they
But
think
whose
they were
fault
owed
is
that.
that?
I know, but they think they were owed that job. They're wrong, but they think that with the coal miners, they're like, well, my great grandpappy worked in the coal mine until he died at age 35, and then my grandfather worked in the coal mine until he died at age 35. And why can't I work in a coal mine? Because there's, again, freaking
I'm
robots.
36 and I'm still alive. What am I doing? Yeah, but yeah, what happened to that? Remember Trump was going to get all those jobs back?
Yeah. Well, they're not coming back. They never will come back. And like all these people, they still enjoy the white privilege. They can still drive down the road with their music up real loud, playing Kid Rock as loud as they want, and the cops won't pull them over.
They could go
But
to rallies, storm a Michigan.
yeah,
They could storm a state capitol building with guns, all out.
yep,
In Illinois, there was a protest today, and somebody got it on video of. They still call it video.
I do.
I know it's like funny. It's like
Yeah,
it's not film because they're not using film.
right.
I feel like I guess it's still video. Yeah, it is, even though it's not videotape.
I
But
still call it moving pictures. Now, some people will say that.
I call it Nickelodeon. You put a nickel in it, you spin the wheel, and the horsey moves, and the light bulb.
Did you see that thing about Nickelodeon tonight? The TV show, the TV
Well,
network?
let me hold on one sec.
Yeah,
So, guy was walking around with a gun, some right wing agitator with a machine gun,
yeah, yeah.
and the cops let him go. What's super fucked up about it is that Illinois is not an open carry state.
Oh, jeez.
It'd be one thing if it was in an open carry
Yeah,
state, and it'd be like, nah, whatever.
Yeah, what
But
do you
why
do?
are the cops okay with this white boy walking around with a gun? Uh, it was like the most fucking ridiculous
Yeah.
thing. All right, go ahead. What about Nickelodeon?
Oh, did you hear? And you know the children's network Nickelodeon?
Yes, I'm fully aware they are.
They ran like some tonight, like around 8 p.m. They went dark. They cut their broadcast for 9 minutes and just broadcast breathing noises. In like an
Wow,
yeah, it was like super intense. Like
good.
and it there was a little disclaimer at the beginning and it said like we're going dark to protest for the Black Lives. It was straight up like
The
Black Lives
music
Matter.
industry is going dark tomorrow.
Yeah, I
We're
saw that.
recording this on Monday. You're probably going to hear this late Tuesday night or Wednesday. But supposedly tomorrow, the music industry is going dark.
Well, I think I here's not that I'm looking for like a glass half full of this, and this is kind of what I was talking to my kid about tonight or earlier tonight, is that these events have forced a lot of people to pick a side. You know what I mean? Like it used to be that you could kind of linger on the periphery of these issues and say, well, you know, but like now you kind of got to pick a side. You got, and like Nickelodeon's picking a side. Like how fucked up does the world have to be for
But what's
Nickelodeon?
fucked up about the whole thing again is that's why I said you got a president who declares Antifa a
Yeah,
terrorist organization, which is basically declaring anyone that does not. I tell this to people that and I posted a thing on my Instagram, and then I posted my stories first, and then I decided to put it as a post in my Instagram, and it basically just said this. Let's pull it up.
yeah,
Um, said, if you are against fascism, you are Antifa. Don't get upset. It's a good thing. It
right,
makes
yeah,
me not a fucking fascist. And the thing is that Trump, when he says that, he's basically saying to the public, if you're not with me,
yeah,
you're my enemy. George W. Bush said that in real life. He said that leading up to the Iraq War. He said
yeah.
that about any country that didn't work with them. He said, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. But that resonated throughout the whole goddamn country. That's
But
why I said
Bush,
George Bush is fucking trash and he should never be, ever. He
but
should be
Bush
in
said
the.
that about other countries. Trump is
But
saying that about
he
America.
says it about other countries, but he's saying it here. And he's telling people in the United States, the messaging works both ways. He's saying, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. He's telling people in the United States, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. If you do not go along with the Iraq War, if you do not go along with my agenda, you are against me, you are my enemy. And then the people that listen to George W. Bush hear the same thing. So it works exactly the same way as fucking Trump saying it about Antifa. And it's so fucking funny that when George W. Bush said that, George Lucas decided to have Anakin Skywalker when he went full on Vader in the end.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that he was Darth Vader before he was all burnt up and in a suit. When he made him Darth Vader, he says that to Obi-Wan, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. And this is like, I'm like, I can't believe that's looking. He used the George Bush quote. I don't know if he used it exactly, but he said it, I think he says that to his wife before he chokes her for the big 30-minute duel. But
I saw someone on Twitter today comment on how, like, a lot of people can watch Star Wars and totally get the idea of why the rebellion needed to happen against the Empire, but then they look around at stuff going on today and are like, well, can't you just peacefully protest or something?
The problem is there's people who watch Star Wars and they think that they're the rebellion. It's right. The most like everyone's got a different perspective on things. It's like, no, Antifa is the empire.
Yeah.
I'm the rebellion, but it's like, no,
that's not how it goes.
But they don't get it, and they're not going to. I want to, like I posted that thing, and then some idiot, this person on my Instagram said something like, oh, we should discuss things. And I'm like, discuss things with Nazis? No.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Or Antifa tries to stop. This is the other thing right wingers say, and people like Joe Rogan repeat it too. They have like clowns on, like Tim Pool and stuff, and they repeat constant anti-Antifa stuff all the time, and not realizing that if Antifa just means anti-fascist, so therefore I guess we're all a bunch of fucking fascists. Either you're too dumb to realize it, or you're intentionally pushing the country towards fascism because you're a fucking fascist. Or you have fascistic tendencies. They like to say that people on Antifa like to stop the conversation. They try to shut down, and it's hysterical because it's like, again, it's opposite day. It's like the gay marriage, legalizing gay marriage somehow is tyranny. Like that's how they think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's bananas.
It is. And I mean, to your earlier point, it's like, I don't know, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of done talking about this kind of stuff to that kind of person. You know, I'm not going to bring them aboard to my side. I'm not going to like let them, they have to, if they're going to come back to the light, or if they're going to come back to like reality, or they have to come to that conclusion themselves. You know, I mean,
there's a great story about, and this is a true story. It's one of the founding white nationalist groups. His kid basically disbanded it, and he became like super progressive and everything. The joke is that he went to college, and like basically Jewish people like met him. And the thing is, it's like, okay, one, I don't personally have the patience to do that. I don't think I'm the right person to do that. So there's better people to do that.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who just says fuck off on my Instagram page. I admit it, so it's fine.
Right.
But like, hey, great on this person. These people, they were able to befriend him, and like I think he even attended like a Seder. It's not like he's Jewish or something, but you know, he didn't think they were the fucking devil anymore. But the thing is, the reality is though, is that I don't think when you read his story, I feel like he was already like not 100% with his dad to begin with. That he knew something was wrong, and college, and that's why a lot of these right-wing groups too hate colleges and want colleges, because they know that colleges are a great place for people who live in the middle of nowhere, like Midwest, or they don't know any minorities, they don't know any other religions, and then they go to college, and all of a sudden now they have a lesbian lover, and they're
listening to the Indigo Girls.
What?
They're listening to the Indigo Girls.
I was going to say Annie DeFranco, but sure. But that's you become exposed to other people, especially if you go away and you get out of your shitty small town and you break away. So this guy, you know, this story, it's an interesting story, but I still believe though that in the end of the day, this kid it was not in him to be this evil, racist piece of shit to begin with.
Yeah. I think
go ahead.
I think that's true of a lot of people, and especially the younger you are.
I think, and if you're smart too, I'm sorry, intelligence has a lot to do. I mean, there are evil, smart people. There are horribly evil, smart people.
Sure.
But
there
are some people who maybe have more empathy than other people.
Yeah.
That could be it too, is maybe he has a thing his dad lacks. Maybe he has empathy in his system.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't know the story 100. Like, I don't know him. I'm saying I don't know. Like they were able to convert him, and obviously it's a big get, because you want to. You know, he's not just some random Nazi. He's the son, and he worked with his dad on the websites, and you know.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big fucking deal to like destroy this evil group. You know, and you know, bring somebody to the light, make them a good person. But then you hear, what's that one famous? I always love, and I love when right wingers try to like take ownership of this guy, Daryl Davis. You ever heard Daryl Davis?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so Daryl Davis is this black guy who's like a musician, but for years he has a kind of a strange hobby. He collects Klansmen.
Yeah.
I don't know if, like, he befriends them and converts them. It's a slow, arduous project,
right.
And he collects all their robes and he befriends them. His whole argument is, how do you hate me? How do you hate me if you don't know me?
Right.
And it's I think it's great what he's doing. Again, I'm not the person to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Not everyone's the person to do that. He is in a unique position that he found himself in, and he was able to befriend people. And he's still friends with people. Like, he's gotten people to disband the Klan. And these are like, again, the guy that I was talking about earlier, who he was like educated person, and
yes.
Again, going to college and all that. These people are like dirt poor. They live in like Appalachia. They've been raised in the Klan their whole life.
Yeah.
These are like
it runs deep in them.
And so for him to come in and get them to get away from it, and he says it, he's like, it's like a cult. It's like a religion, It's like you're trying to get somebody, like you're trying to get somebody who, and the thing is, he's like, they become my friend, and they're like, I don't even know why I hate you. Yeah. But then in the end, they're probably like, I still hate the Jews, though.
Right. Yeah, I think that's true.
Do I still get to hate the Jews? And Dow Dave's like, I'm not Jewish, so I'm just kidding.
You see that, like, a lot of, I don't know, that's a tough area. That is
a lot of Republicans always like, not Republicans, but like conservatives like to always bring up Dow Davis as if like he's the only example. Like when they try to attack Black Lives Matter, they try to like bring up Daryl Davis or something. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, what the fuck does that have to do with the Black Lives Matter movement? Like,
right. I don't know. It's just in the back of my head. I keep thinking like, this is how crazy it is. Been watching the news on and off like throughout the day. We've been talking for about an hour and a half. I have no idea what's going to be on the news after we're done and I flip on the news.
I think the world exploded.
Well, like you wonder, like, well, what would have happened? What happened?
In the Daryl Davis documentary, there's a great scene where he talks to like a Black Lives Matter movement, because the documentary was kind of made like around the time Ferguson happened.
Okay, yeah.
And this one guy just goes off on him, basically calls him an Uncle Tom, and he's just like, fuck this. Like, why do I have to be the one to get these people to like me or something? Like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but they don't get along.
Right, and, yeah.
Like, the guy brings up a good point, though. Why should it be, and this is why I get annoyed with conservatives when they, and even like Joe Rogan likes to bring it up all the time, too. I'm not saying Joe Rogan's, I don't know what the fuck he is, a meathead.
Sure.
My apologies to meatheads. What did you say about me? That why should it be now? Like I said, Dow Davis is in a unique position, but that's a life he chose to do. But why should it be other Black people or any minority, any sexual orientation, any religion? Why should it be their job to get someone that hates them to accept them?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be my job to get you to not think that I'm the devil? Like, I will try not to, I'm not acting like the devil. I'm not doing the thing the devil that you think, but like, why should it be anyone's job? Why should it be a Asian person's job or a Latino, it doesn't, like, even a white person, like, why should it be their job? If you're a decent human being that to each other, then that's what it should be. And if the person is hateful towards you, well, it shouldn't be your job to have to, like, again, Daryl Davis chose to do that, and good on him. And if he gets 30 Klansmen and those Klansmen get other Klansmen and it gets, it saves a bunch of people. The numbers aren't that big, but it could have an effect. Good on him, and it's great.
Good start.
Don't use him as a fucking excuse to let bigotry still thrive, or you underwrite Black Lives Matter as a cause. Because the whole point of Black Lives Matter is, it's like we talked about, we didn't get to the point, was, well, all lives matter. And it's like, well, okay, yes, all lives matter. It's a weird statement to say because it got hijacked by the right, and it's like, well, yeah, but Black Lives Matter because they're getting killed. Like, one of the protests I watched was a black kid was about to get arrested, and his younger white friend, this girl, jumped in front of him.
Okay.
Almost like as a human shield to get the cops away from him. Like, that's an issue. The people getting arrested who owned their own store.
Yeah.
That's an issue. That's why that's why we have to say Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
This one white woman made this funny TikTok where she's playing two characters, and one of them is standing in front of a house on fire, and the other one's standing in front of a house that's not on fire. And the one person's like, well, call the fire department. And she's like, well, I need the fire department. Yeah, but your house is on fire. But my house matters too.
Yeah. That like illustrates it pretty perfectly. Like the reason you say Black Lives Matter is because the structure is set up so that they don't matter. White lives already matter. Blue lives already matter.
They already got all the power, as you can see. They can arrest people and do whatever the fuck they want with little to no consequences.
Those lives matter because they already do. If that's understood, that's baked into the cake. It's that some lives structurally seem to matter a lot less. That's why you have to kind of reiterate that point or emphasize it or repeat it. I don't know.
It's the same thing. Going back to those idiots that said, like, it's tyranny. No, it's not. If George W. Bush said he wanted a constitutional amendment that defined what marriage was, and they said that, and there was a thing that said heterosexual people should also be aware of what marriage is because that could affect them too. Because the language and what they put in can really distort what the fuck a marriage means. And it was like a nightmare. And the reality is, I go back to that, and then I go to this. It's like a Black Lives Matter and everything. And it's like slavery. Slavery was obviously, we don't have actual slave. We have prison industrial complex. That's a form of slavery. But when we had actual legal slavery and back in the day for hundreds of years in this country, hundreds of years before it was a country, it took almost 100 years to. The country's life was almost 100 years old until there was a war, like, to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if you have slaves, we are all not free.
Yeah.
That includes you. I wrote like this thing when I made a little, like, I just did like a doodle text thing with Black Lives Matter on my Instagram, but I always try to write something. And, we want to wrap this up. But I'll just leave it at this. Like, Black Lives Matter. 3 out of 4 policemen have not been arrested yet for the intentional murder, I call it intentional, of George Floyd. The one main culprit was given a 3rd-degree murder charge, which doesn't really make any sense. We have a militarized police force out in effect terrorizing cities, but we couldn't provide doctors and nurses the basic tools to help COVID-19 patients at the start of this pandemic so that they themselves wouldn't get sick. The priorities of this country are so fucked up. Why are the cops militarized? Why are the healthcare workers provided nothing? Why were the people that became unemployed because of the pandemic were given a pittance while the elites gobbled it all up? Yeah. Why are cops still killing innocent black people? We still have to keep saying it so it might register in some people's heads. Black Lives Matters. Because remember, folks, if some of us aren't free from this abuse, none of us are either. Black Lives Matter. And that's the reality. And you have a thug like Trump in power. It's like the old saying. What's that old saying? It started, first they came for the communists.
Yeah.
And then they came for the social. Do you know the full statement?
Some Catholic priest said that. Like, and then they finally came for me, and there's no one left to speak for me, Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to find it, and we can end it on that. And then we'll see what's happening to the world when we revisit.
Yeah, right?
First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist.
Yep.
Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, folks. Like, if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not the person that's going to convert you. I don't have you have to be able to like realize that, yes, are the people who are Antifa, can they be a little rude?
Sure.
I guess. I mean, it's like punk rock, man, smash a bottle or two. But you know what? They're not coming up with guns.
Right.
They're not showing up with machine guns and with Boogaloo on it.
Mm. Well,
all right. Well, I mean, this has been a weird episode.
It's time to pick a side, though, right? I mean,
I don't like that way that sounds. I mean, it's not time to pick a side. It's time to think about what the hell you're doing, thinking about what you're doing, and pick a side. No. That's not what I. Again, not my job. I'm not the person to convert you. I don't see myself as this thing. I'm not living. Yeah. I don't have that. But the way things are working, it's like, okay, so we'll wrap this up. But Biden, it's like, well, Trump was in the bunker. Biden was out and he met with people and met with protesters.
Yeah.
He did say a gaffe today, which was super dumb.
Okay.
But again, his gaffe is nowhere near as bad as any of Trump's gaffes. I'm sorry. Like, somebody posted it. Oh, that was it. Some of these people I follow, like on the left, like leftists. I don't know. I consider myself on the left. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not enough, but they posted this thing making fun of it's Pride Month. It's June 1st. So, and Hillary Clinton posted a thing, and then some other people posted it. It was like the White House with the rainbow flag on it, and Trump with the lights off, and showing the symbolism.
Yeah, right. And I saw that.
He said some shit like, "Oh, neo-lib, blah blah blah," and I'm like, you know what? As of right now, I'll gladly take the lame neo-lib thing over the fucking guy who says when the riots start, the bullets fly. Or what did he say? He quoted fucking George Wallace and some racist sheriff from the 60s. When the riots start, the shooting begins or something.
Something like that. I mean, that was the gist of it.
Again, it's like Sam Cedar brings up a good point. He goes, people on the left, like, if you want to argue, you want to get something done, and again, Biden's not the nominee 100% yet. There's still some primaries left. But, and the same thing with Hillary, the same argument was, if you're on the left, you want to be able to argue with the center left or center.
Yeah.
Depending on what you think is the center or center left is. And you want to argue in the building, but you can't argue with the guy who's outside lighting the building on fire.
Yeah. No. That's not going to work.
You can't, we cannot survive 4 more years.
Mm.
This year has proven it.
Months.
No, I know, that's the joke. Like, I mean, we're 3 years in, we have lived through all his chaos from remember he wouldn't sign a budget and people didn't have checks for months.
Yeah.
People forget these things. He didn't want to sign a budget because the Democrats won the House and he was a baby. Mm. We're not going to survive. Anybody who is on the left telling you, who claims, I'm going to use the word claims, that we can't have Biden because he would be worse than Trump. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't.
No, not buying it.
Not buying it. Sorry. I said that guy, he's not what I wanted, but a bag of onions would be better. Right?
All right.
Well, I'm Rob Israel.
Yeah, I'm Joseph K.
And we'll see if we're still even alive.
There we go.
We'll see. We'll be back. We'll be back later in the week, and who knows? Maybe I don't know. Maybe Jesus will return and eat us.
Thanks for listening.
Isn't that what he's supposed to do? He comes in, turns into like a.
That's like Ragnarok.
Back, he turns into like a 7-headed dragon, I thought. And eats everybody. Well, not everyone.
All right.
All right. Well, again, I'm Rob Isra.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about that? Oh.
That.
Well, yeah. Later. Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGoat, Facebook, YSGoat, and Twitter, YSGoat. Thank you.